Hey everyone, Christina Simmons from Say Yes to Holiness here. So today is actually All Souls Day, and also tomorrow is Election Day. So I was reflecting upon the gospel from yesterday, and I also watched Bishop Robert Barron's sermon that he does. He tapes and he makes it available. And it was the combination of those, because yesterday was All Saints Day. And what Bishop Barron was reflecting on was, what is it that it means to be a saint? And he crystallized it beautifully, which is, it's about my whole life is about love. And what is love? To will the good of the other. And I was reflecting that this is the message that we have got to have, especially this week. Regardless of what the election results are, and we might not know for weeks, we might not know, unfortunately, for months at this point, because it's been awesome to watch. I'm a historian as well as, and it's something where it's been awesome to watch everyone coming out and voting. And that's what we're supposed to be about, to be engaged. But I digress a bit. So we might not even know what the results are. But the fact is that we need to go ahead and to be living the Beatitudes in the midst of our awaiting the results. And we might have them tomorrow night. But even in the wake of that, we still need to be living the Beatitudes. We still need to be about love and willing the good of the other. And we have to trust that God has got this. That's the biggest thing we have to do, is that we have to trust that God has got this. But just a couple of thoughts, in the midst of the Beatitudes, I've heard, been referred to as the be attitudes. These are the attitudes that we need to be in order to be who God created us to be. So I like that. So kind of think about this, of what attitudes do I need to be cultivating, do I need to be attentive to, especially this week, so that I can be about love, so that I can be about willing the good of the other. And in order to will the good of the other, that means that we got to set aside our stuff. We got to be focused on them. And so blessed are those who are poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they insult you and persecute you and utter every kind of evil against you falsely because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven. Jesus gave us the Sermon on the Mount more than 2,000 years ago. And what they do is they give us that vision of who we will be when we are about putting God first in our lives, loving Him with our whole mind, our whole heart, and our whole soul, and loving our neighbor as ourselves. And we so desperately need to love our neighbor as ourselves. So what might that look like? What might that look like? Well, to be poor in spirit, it means that we're not being occupied. We're not being preoccupied with things of wealth. We're being focused not on our comfort, but rather on the care of others. What does it mean to blessed are those who are mourning? That almost seems contradictory. But the fact is that anytime we make a sacrifice of any kind, we are not being preoccupied with pleasure. We're not being preoccupied with us feeling good. And this is a huge piece that we have going on right now, is that we want to feel good that we're right, or we want to feel good that we've won. And these aren't the attitudes that we need to be about. We need to be about not being preoccupied with the things that make us feel good, but rather with caring for those before us. What does it mean to rejoice when people insult us or persecute us, which might very well happen regardless of what the results are? people disagree, and this is something that we have to be mindful of. What does it mean? It means that we're not preoccupied with fame. We're not preoccupied with what other people's opinions are. We're not preoccupied with power and fame. You know, we don't care what our position is. We're not concerned with what others think, but rather we are allowing ourselves to be persecuted. We're allowing ourselves to be meek, to be humble, and we will be comforted. So the question then, of course, is, the peacemakers. It means that we're being oriented towards what God tells us is going to bring us peace. And what's going to bring us peace is love. And it's about being pure of heart. Bishop Barron shared Soren Kierkegaard's definition of a saint is about one thing. And this is what we have to be about this week especially. We have to be about that one thing, and it's love. It's to encounter people with mercy. It's to encounter them and desire only one thing, to love them, to see them as the human being who is unique and unrepeatable, and no one else will be like them, standing before you as a sign of God in our midst. We have to be able to see one another this way, regardless of what stupidity we say, regardless of the insane things that we might do. And all of us have gone there. We still need to look at one another as brothers and sisters. We still need to look at each other as sons and daughters. We need to set aside our hate. We need to set aside all of our anger. We need to set this aside and to love. And this is the great challenge. But when we do, when we're hungry and we're thirsting for this righteousness, when we're striving for only what is good and true and beautiful, then what happens is that then we're about that one thing. We're about love. God is what is all good and all true and all beautiful. He gives us the vision that all things will be well, that He is working to the good for those who love Him. So this week, in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the insanity, in the midst of the vitriol, in the midst of all of what is going to go on, focus on the one thing. Focus on love. Focus on mercy. And be the saint that God created you to be. Know my prayers for you and your family throughout this week, and I'll talk to all of you again soon. God bless.